Welcome everybody to actually, I don't know what we're going to call this, kind of a mini Q&A kind of episode.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Is that kind of on the nose? So yeah, a couple weeks ago, I put out a call to action for everybody to send in some questions that they had for us. And I was actually surprised. We got quite a few. And instead of putting these into the regular episode, we're actually thinking that maybe we'll do some mini episodes, which we'll be releasing on Mondays. And yeah, if you guys keep submitting your questions, we will be here to answer them. So we actually had quite a few relationship questions. And so I'm thinking we can kind of start with those. So the first question is, and I feel like we might have touched upon this, but I don't remember, Bessie Joe, if you talked about this or not. But someone wanted to know, how do you bring up staying friends with your ex? A lot of these were anonymous. I think what they meant is, how do you bring up with your current partner that you are friends with your ex?
The second I meet a current partner,
Oh,
and
really?
yeah, and if there seems to be sparks, I just slip it in that I have this unique situation, which I think everyone should have, where I am friends with exes.
What about you, John Wayne? What are your thoughts on that?
About being friends with exes?
Yeah.
Are we talking like J Dub 15 years ago, or are we talking like J Dub today?
What is J Dub?
John Wayne, sorry.
Oh.
Um, well, you're really, yeah. So like if,
Because I'm totally different of what I would do then and what I do now.
Okay,
So
let's say now, J Dub now.
I would be like, oh, that's cool, man, and then so am I the one having to explain that I'm friends with my exes?
yeah, but you don't, how many
Yeah,
exes do you
it's
have?
one of one
Tr-
former,
okay.
and she's in the ground.
So maybe hypothetically, from the other perspective, if Natalie, for example,
Mm-hmm. Like if we broke up and we're friends, and then I got in another relationship,
yeah.
I I feel like I would just, I don't know, I don't see it as a big deal
Uh huh.
anymore. Like I'd probably be like, oh hey, just heads up, this might bother you because I realize that bothers some people.
Mm-hmm.
If it bothers you, then either deal with it or leave. But I am friends with my ex. We'll get along really well.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Bessie, because that's an interesting thing. I've actually been in situations where, um, I'm the person, I'm the current boyfriend, and then my ex or the person I'm seeing is very close to their ex.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, I mean, one time we went out to the coffee shop and we ran into, I don't know if I talked about this on the podcast before, but we ran into like three of his exes,
Yeah, you mentioned it.
and it
I mean,
just
obviously
felt
that's his
very,
hotspot.
it just kind of felt, yeah. In fact, I feel like we did talk about this because it made me feel like not special. It made me feel kind of like one of many. Maybe
Yeah.
that was a unique situation, you know, but I don't know. So ever since that moment, I've always felt a little, I don't know. I guess there's the animal part of my brain that's like, no, me, and maybe I have trust issues. But then there's sort of the mature part of my brain that wants to say, but you know what though? Maybe sometimes two people try that type of relationship and it doesn't work out, but
Mm-hmm.
there's still enough of a friendship where they can be friends.
Especially if they were friends beforehand.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Like so that's why I was like earlier, I think the younger me is in that mode of like, maybe I don't know if it was just, maybe I just don't have as much confidence in myself or something. Not saying
Hmm.
that this is for everyone, but I think it's just that idea that like, oh, she's gonna sleep with her friend again. They were together once, they'll be together again. Rather than like, now I realize like, oh well, they're not together for a reason.
Yeah.
Most people aren't like gonna be like,
But you were a virgin when I met you.
we can sneak a bang in. Woohoo! Remember the old times.
Well, plus, Bessie, I think you even talked about this also once where when people cheat, it's not about, like, if I'm worried about my current partner cheating with his ex, that's not my partner's problem. That's my problem as far as
Yeah.
me worrying about it.
Yeah.
You know, like
If you
that's
have
something
hard
I need
evidence that they are cheating, then that means, well, how far are you into this relationship where you can talk about it and discuss whether it's worth staying with that person or not?
totally.
You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody.
So-
every situation's different.
Yeah, I was gonna say the exact same thing.
Yeah.
So I hope, Anonymous, that we provided some clarity on that. Next question.
Cool. Can we hold for a second?
Oh, sure.
Did someone actually ask that question?
That one someone did.
Who?
Not. So,
He said
I
it
don't
was
know.
anonymous.
It was.
It
anonymous.
could be anonymous for this, but you have to have gotten a name.
No. On the this one was emailed, and it just said like some random character, some random string of numbers. So I don't know if they got it from, because I know I was telling everybody to email us. Some of these came from Instagram, and then like 3 of them came from the email. I've got like 1, 2, I've got like
So
20
if you
here.
so if you get an email, it's anonymous.
Well, no, a couple of them came from like, the email name, you know what I mean? Like lastandforever@gmail.com. But this particular one just was a bunch of numbers.
Sounds like a robot.
Interesting.
Could be.
Sounds like a robot's going through some relationship problems and wants to tell their new stack of can girlfriend that they are still friends with their computers.
It's an AI program that found your algorithm, and it's like, would like a question about my friend.
My friend has this problem, not me. This is for a friend.
I'm doing computer air quotes. Just a friend.
So actually, here was another question that's a little bit more on the lighthearted side. This person wanted to know, every time my partner comes, they yell something stupid. She said, for example,
question.
So, for example, she said last night they yelled, "Will that complete your order?" And she wants to know, how do I deal with this?
Is that a real question?
That's someone wants to know.
Yeah, communicate with your partner that is odd and you wish it to stop.
But what if they don't
If they
want it to stop?
refuse, if they refuse, then if that is something they can't live without, is saying something weird and I don't know, braggadocious about themselves while also every time they come, then I'd be like, then I don't think, if you can't sacrifice this one little thing you love about yourself for some reason, then I don't see us going super far, because this is
Really?
I don't.
You don't think?
I don't think.
What if
like,
she just?
Because it's what, like, let me complete your order, or you just completed your order, or
Well,
bingo, you just had the best sex of your life. If someone said these things to me, I would be like, okay, well, let's stop. And if they're like, can't, then I'd be like, well, what do you like more? Do you like saying these odd phrases, or do you like making love? Like, what? You're not on the same planet right now. You're not being present.
What if she? Okay, so maybe before they break up, what if she says? What if she gives it back to him? You know what I mean? Like, what if she says something crazy when she comes?
Like
fire.
Like she's trying to like top him.
Right.
He's like, oh, whammy, and then she's like, oh yeah, fill that hole, you construction worker. I don't know, but then it's like dirty talk, right? if it goes back.
Well, this doesn't sound like dirty talk. I mean, this just sounds like he's trying to say something funny when he comes.
Yeah.
You just make the zinger every time he comes. So.
I feel like
Okay,
once in a while that's fine because things can have, we can all have a laugh once in a while. But consistently, I would think like, yo, you were told at a very young age that you were funny, and it's really affecting your adulthood, and I don't
Yeah.
like it. It's like when you
Well,
go
yeah.
to an improv class and you can always tell the people who were just told their whole lives they were funny in high school and in theater class, and it's atrocious to be around. They're always
Yeah.
on. They're always on. Sometimes just, humble yourself and be off. It's okay.
Yeah.
Well, she says every time. So
I think it's something to communicate.
Yeah, I agree. I think you just need to be like, because I feel like if this is in a male-female relationship, majority of the time the female has the power, if not all the time. I think she would just be like, just withhold, just be like, look, I don't enjoy when you do this. It does not make me want to have. It makes me not want to have sex with you.
Yeah.
So if you like what's
it
happening,
doesn't turn me on.
Yeah. If you like what's doing what this is, that's got to go. I don't know.
Or not every fucking time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus.
But like, look, man, you're really killing the mood on me, bro.
So everybody, it looks like our advice is a little bit varied, but kind of along the same way. If it sounds like it might be a deal breaker for her, so we've got, definitely talk to them. Definitely, maybe at the minimum, ask if it has to be every time, if they can kind of just have sometimes. And then we have my advice, which is try to one-up her, try to one-up him. Really see if that works. Okay.
Just try to one-up instead of communicate as a first step.
Well, yeah, just to kind of show him what it's like, So.
Or like do something different, like that he probably won't like. Like stick a finger in his bum and see if that. Huh? Oh no, I love that. I love when I come. I like to. And he's just like, "What? No." And he's like, "Yeah, it's happening. I'm gonna, and he's gonna be like, "No."
When you say order up, that's the equivalent of this.
Yeah,
but I think exactly, because I think that's hilarious. The idea where he's like, and he says, "Well, that completes your order," and then she's like, "Do you want avocado with that?"
I'm telling you,
the order is complete, Aaron.
I'm telling you,
I add more avocado.
Do you take MasterCard?
But that sounds like dirty. It sounds like some like awkward dirty talk. Then at that point,
yeah, that's true. Okay,
well,
hey,
once in a while, if that,
butter my corn. I don't know.
I feel like we're really helping people today. Next question.
Debatable.
So my friend never wants to play video games with me. How do I get him to?
This sounds personal.
Is this a question for John Wayne for you?
I don't know. It says there wasn't a name attached to this. It's just the question. That's all it said. I don't know.
Well, let's establish, does this person like to play games?
Yeah. I think there's two people that like to play video games.
Okay.
They play video games. Let's say hypothetically, they play video games every once in a while. But one person has less of a life than the other person.
Are you sure of that?
Well,
is that the person who wrote the question?
I'm saying hypothetically.
Hypothetically.
So, any advice?
Not for me. This seems really personal.
Oh,
that you guys should figure out.
Maybe. Well, what kind of games does this guy like to play?
Well, he definitely has. I'm sure. Well, I'm supposing he has a couple favorites, but he's open-minded.
Is he?
I mean,
I like how Aaron squeezes this question in here. So funny.
This is the whole reason I wanted to do the Q&A. I'm actually not even going to post.
This is the only reason. I'll just throw a couple of questions at him, and then I'll sneak it in there.
Yeah, he's gonna lubricate us, and then slip right in.
I think my best advice would just be to communicate. and maybe find a compromise. Because maybe they are busy most nights. Maybe he has to split time with his GF, and when he spends time with his GF, he can't play games at all. And then sometimes when he's not with his GF, he's like, "Oh, now I have other games to play to catch up on."
I'm sure when he
Or
hears that,
watch
he'll feel
football
much
because
better.
football season just started. What?
I'm sure when he hears that, he's going to feel much better. Or she. I don't know. Okay. Well, there we go.
Yeah, I feel much better.
And then the last question we'll do today. Okay. My best friend has no fashion sense. Every time we go out, we get looks. How do I tell them? Well, the question is, how do I tell him? But how do I tell them?
You don't.
I feel like this is Natalie talking about me.
Should this person even care that they're getting looks?
No.
Or should this person really reflect upon themselves? Why? Like, what is fashion anyway? You know what I mean?
Fashion is bullshit. Style is personal, and it's everything. It's like I don't give a shit about fashion. I only care about style. Whatever floats your boat, whatever makes you feel confident when you walk out that door, that's what you wear.
Yeah.
So,
Style.
if this person was standing right in front of you, what would you tell them?
Nothing.
This person who's worried about this person who's worried about their friends' fashion
tell
sense.
them to stop worrying about looks. If that person feels confident, then you can always encourage and say, "Oh wow, that shirt looks really good on you."
Yeah.
You can always encourage something that maybe is flattering on them. But I'm not a big fan of unless it's clearly comedic and clearly purposeful in the way they're dressing. I'm not a big fan of making comments on it just because you're uncomfortable with showing up with that person.
Right. Now, if you went out, say you were going out on a date, okay, and you had already told your partner to stop screaming out crazy things when he comes, and he has said, fine, okay, that's fine. But then he showed up to your date in like a dinosaur costume.
Yeah, well, that
To take
seems
you out.
purposeful, and I would comment on it. I'd be like, "Well, what are you doing?"
And he's like,
Is this because I asked you to stop screaming weird things when you come?
right. And he's like, I need to release my comedy in another way. So it's going to have to be through my fashion.
And I'm going to be like, "What comedy?"
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I don't mind making fun of someone's personality if it's really egotistical and dumb. Do you feel better about that answer?
yeah, no, I feel you know what? I feel so we got in 4 questions there. I feel like we really helped some people, I hope. So everybody, that's this is sort of our new experiment. Please keep submitting your questions. I'll probably be doing a permanent question thing in the highlights on Instagram. But yeah, Instagram, email, walk up to me if you see me in the street, 6 feet away with your mask. Ask some questions. We're here to answer. And we are not qualified in most ways, but we have some life experience between the 3 of us, and we're here to help.
Just find you in the coffee shop.
So yeah, thanks everybody. Thanks John Wayne. Thanks Bessie Joe.
Thank you.
Hey, Ray Ron.